Have you ever wondered why you keep waking up at night to use the bathroom, no matter what you try? What if there was a simple way to finally sleep through the night without relying on medications or costly treatments? Imagine waking up feeling fully rested, clear-headed, and energized, all because of a few easy changes you can start tonight. Millions of older adults face the same struggle, those frustrating trips to the bathroom that disrupt their sleep and leave them feeling drained the next day. It's a common issue, but here's something most people don't realize. There are science-backed, practical habits that can help you reclaim your nights. Today, we're diving into 6 specific habits that many seniors are using to naturally reduce nighttime urination. And no, this doesn't involve popping another pill or signing up for expensive procedures. These are simple, everyday adjustments that truly work, helping your bladder stay calm and quiet through the night. The result? You wake up feeling refreshed, with more energy, sharper focus, and a renewed sense of control over your body. If you've been quietly dealing with this problem, thinking it's just another part of aging, I want you to pay close attention because you may have more control over this than you think. Let's jump right in with the first habit, creating a bladder-calming evening routine. One of the most effective ways to minimize those nightly bathroom visits is by developing a bedtime routine that's gentle on your bladder. This doesn't mean you need to avoid water entirely. Instead, it's about knowing when and how much to drink in the hours leading up to bedtime, giving your bladder plenty of time to settle. Many people unknowingly sip water, tea, or other beverages right up until they head to bed, thinking it's harmless. However, this simple habit could be the reason you're waking up at night. Stay tuned because we're just getting started. Wishing you great health, happiness, and peace. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more helpful tips. Many people believe they're simply staying hydrated when they sip drinks throughout the evening. But here's the hidden truth. Those fluids don't get processed by your kidneys and bladder right away. Instead, they linger in your system, and just a few hours later, your body wakes you up with a clear and urgent message. It's time to empty the tank. And just like that, your sleep is interrupted. By making one simple shift in your evening routine, drinking more fluids earlier in the day and stopping your liquid intake about 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, you can significantly reduce those nighttime bathroom visits. But timing isn't the only factor to consider. What you drink plays just as big of a role as when you drink it. Take caffeine, for example. It's a powerful diuretic, meaning it pulls water from your body and speeds up urine production. That's why sipping coffee, black tea, or even green tea in the evening can lead to those all-too-familiar 2 a.m. wake-up calls. And it doesn't stop there. Alcohol has the same effect, as do many carbonated drinks. You might think to yourself, but it's just one small glass at night. Yet even that seemingly harmless drink can be enough to disrupt your sleep, especially when your bladder is already sensitive. I remember a man named Richard, who was 78 years old. He used to wake up 4 or 5 times each night. His doctor had checked everything and found no serious health issues, so Richard assumed it was simply part of getting older. But everything changed when he tried this approach. He stopped drinking after dinner, skipped his usual glass of wine, and instead spent his evenings reading a quiet book instead of watching the late-night news. Incredibly, within just 3 days, he noticed a difference. By the end of the first week, he was only waking up once during the night, and after 2 weeks, he was sleeping straight through the night without interruption. His wife even said it felt like she was living with a whole new person, someone who was rested, alert, and no longer dozing off in his chair by mid-morning. The truth is, your bladder isn't just a passive container. It's a highly responsive organ that reacts to your daily habits and internal body rhythms. When you provide it with the right environment, through smarter timing, mindful beverage choices, and calming evening activities, it can function far better than you might expect. You don't need to completely overhaul your life. Sometimes, a few gentle tweaks in your routine can lead to dramatic results. So, if you're tired of those 3 a.m. bathroom trips, this is your first and simplest place to begin. Stay tuned for the next tip. Strengthening your pelvic floor muscles, another highly effective strategy. One often overlooked reason seniors wake up multiple times during the night to urinate is the weakening of the muscles that support the bladder, especially the pelvic floor muscles. These muscles act like a supportive sling, holding everything in place. When they're strong, they help you hold urine longer, reduce sudden urges, and allow your bladder to fully empty when needed. However, over time, these muscles can weaken. Aging, lack of regular exercise, and even events from decades ago, such as childbirth, can gradually cause this loss of strength. When the pelvic floor muscles weaken, your bladder doesn't get the support it needs to function properly. This becomes even more noticeable at night when your body is lying down and the pressure inside your abdomen shifts. But here's the good news. Regaining control doesn't mean you need to hit the gym or engage in intense physical workouts. It simply means reconnecting with muscles that many people forget even exist. The most well-known and effective way to do this is through a simple exercise called the Kegel. And no, it's not just for women. Men benefit greatly from Kegels too, especially as they age and face changes related to the prostate. A Kegel exercise involves gently tightening the same muscles you would use to stop the flow of urine. You simply squeeze, hold for about 5 seconds, then relax for another 5 seconds. Repeating this exercise 10 to 15 times, 3 times per day, can greatly improve bladder control over time. But here's the key. Patience and consistency are essential. These are small muscles, and they respond slowly. It can take several weeks before you start noticing real changes. And it's not about waiting until you're already rushing to the bathroom. These exercises are preventative. By building strength ahead of time, you reduce the chances of those middle-of-the-night wake-ups altogether. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until you have a cavity to start brushing. You brush every day to prevent one. In the same way, Kegels are your way of brushing your pelvic floor muscles. I remember speaking with a woman named Eleanor, who was 81 years old. She had been waking up 2 or 3 times a night to use the bathroom and believed it was simply an unavoidable part of getting older, but she decided to give Kegels a try. She placed gentle reminders around her home, one on her bathroom mirror, one on the fridge, and another by her favorite armchair, to help her remember to practice 3 times a day. After just 3 weeks, she began to notice a difference. One morning, she smiled and told me, "I didn't even think about it. I just woke up and realized I slept all the way through." That's the power of small, consistent steps in restoring control and improving your nights. She simply couldn't believe it. It's amazing how your body can still adapt and improve, even in your 70s or 80s. The truth is, your bladder and the muscles supporting it can respond to regular training, just like any other part of your body. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about making steady progress, little by little. And here's the best part. You can practice these exercises almost anywhere. Whether you're sitting comfortably in your favorite chair, standing at the kitchen sink, or even lying down in bed, these movements are always within reach. You don't need any special equipment, no expensive memberships, and no complicated routines. It's just you and your commitment to enjoying better, uninterrupted sleep. If you're still watching this video and finding these tips helpful, please take a moment to leave a comment with the number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on any upcoming videos filled with practical tips to inform and inspire you. Your support means everything and helps us continue creating valuable content just for you. Now, let's keep going with another simple but highly effective strategy, resetting your fluid timing habits. One of the most powerful yet overlooked changes you can make to stop waking up in the middle of the night to urinate is surprisingly simple. It's all about adjusting when you drink your fluids during the day. Many older adults unknowingly drink most of their water or other beverages later in the afternoon or evening. Sometimes it's just out of habit, or maybe they're busy during the day and don't think about drinking until later. Others simply feel thirstier as the day goes on. However, this pattern can wreak havoc on your bladder during the night. Even if you're not consuming large amounts, your kidneys keep working around the clock. In fact, kidney function in older adults can sometimes lead to even more urine production at night That means if you're loading up on liquids between dinner and bedtime, even unintentionally, you're almost guaranteed to feel that sudden urge just as you're drifting off or deep in sleep. The bladder doesn't care that you're finally cozy and wrapped up under the covers. It doesn't have a do not disturb setting. When it's full, it's going to send that signal to your brain, whether it's 2 in the morning or 3. So how do you outsmart this? The trick is to front-load your hydration. That means shifting most of your fluid intake to earlier in the day. Start by drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning, followed by another glass with your breakfast. Throughout the rest of the morning and into the early afternoon, keep sipping water regularly, but as the evening approaches, begin to ease off. This simple shift can make a huge difference in reducing nighttime trips to the bathroom, allowing your body to rest peacefully through the night. By around 6 p.m., it's wise to begin gradually slowing down your fluid intake. Ideally, by 8 p.m., you should have already consumed about 80% of your total daily fluids. Now, this doesn't mean you have to go to bed feeling parched. If your mouth feels dry, it's perfectly fine to take small sips of water. But it's best to avoid drinking full glasses of any beverage too close to bedtime, unless your doctor specifically advises you to do so. Here's something many people don't realize. Not all fluids affect your bladder the same way at night. Caffeinated drinks, such as coffee or tea, even certain decaf options, can act as diuretics. In simple terms, they send a message to your body saying, "Time to flush everything out." Why? That, of course, increases urine production and makes you more likely to wake up during the night. And alcohol, even a small glass of wine, can trigger more frequent urination. Plus, it has another hidden effect. It disrupts your natural sleep cycles. So, while you may feel drowsy after a drink and fall asleep quickly, you're far more likely to wake up later with a full bladder and struggle to get back to restful sleep. You may even feel groggy the next morning without knowing why. I once spoke with Frank, a 74-year-old who was puzzled about why he kept waking up around 3 a.m. every night, despite not having any major bladder issues. At first, he tried cutting back on liquids entirely, but that just left him dehydrated and uncomfortable throughout the day. When we carefully reviewed his daily habits, we spotted the problem. He had been sipping herbal tea and water steadily from dinner right up until bedtime. Once Frank shifted his fluid intake earlier in the day, making sure he still drank enough, but stopped much sooner in the evening, everything changed. He found himself sleeping through the night far more often, waking up feeling refreshed instead of exhausted. "I had no idea timing mattered so much," he told me, smiling. "Now, I plan my day around better sleep." And that's really the heart of the message here. You don't need to drink less overall. You simply need to drink smarter. Timing truly makes all the difference. You don't have to drink less. You simply need to drink smarter. By shifting your drinking patterns, you give your body the support it needs to function the way it was naturally designed to. A few thoughtful changes today can lead to a peaceful, uninterrupted night of sleep tomorrow. And truly, you deserve that. You deserve the kind of deep, restful sleep that isn't broken by constant trips to the bathroom every couple of hours. Now, let's move into something that doesn't get nearly enough attention when it comes to nighttime urination: rebuilding your pelvic floor strength. The moment most people hear the words pelvic floor, they tend to think it only applies to women. But let's set the record straight. Both men and women have pelvic floor muscles. And as we age, these muscles naturally begin to weaken unless we take steps to keep them strong. When those muscles lose their tone and strength, one of the first signs you might notice is increased leakage or waking up frequently during the night to urinate. The pelvic floor is actually a group of muscles and connective tissues that work together to support your bladder, your bowels, and for women, the uterus. These muscles play a critical role in holding everything in place and controlling when you release it. But if these muscles grow weak, your bladder can start to shift out of its ideal position. That means you feel the urge to urinate much faster, your ability to hold it gets shorter, and you're more likely to wake up to use the bathroom, sometimes even when your bladder isn't all that full. The urge becomes more frequent and harder to ignore. Not because your body is producing excess urine, but because your muscles simply aren't managing it as effectively as they once did. Now, here's the encouraging part. You can rebuild that strength with just a few minutes of effort each day. No gym memberships, no complicated machines, and no fancy equipment required. All it takes is a simple routine known as Kegel exercises. You've likely heard of them before, but you might not be entirely sure how to do them or whether they're even relevant to you. But here's the truth. They apply to everyone. Here's how to get started. First, you need to identify the right muscles. These are the same muscles you naturally engage when trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. Don't worry, you don't need to actually practice while peeing. Just try that once if needed to locate the right muscles. Then, while sitting comfortably or lying down in a relaxed position, gently contract those muscles. Hold the muscles gently for about 5 seconds, then release and relax for another 5 seconds. Start slowly, with just 5 to 10 repetitions a day, and as you grow more comfortable, you can gradually increase the number. The key here isn't how hard you squeeze, but how focused and steady you are. Remember to breathe naturally throughout. There's no need to hold your breath. Also, avoid tensing your stomach, thighs, or buttocks. The goal is to isolate that gentle, internal lift. Now, here's the most important part. Consistency. You won't notice instant results after just a day or two, but after a few weeks of steady practice, most older adults begin to see real changes. They experience better control, fewer leaks, and yes, far fewer interruptions to their sleep caused by nighttime bathroom trips. And please, don't let embarrassment stop you from trying this. No one needs to know you're doing these exercises. You can easily practice them while watching TV, sitting at the kitchen table, or even waiting at a red light. These moments throughout the day are perfect for building a habit that can truly transform your nights. I remember Susan, an 81-year-old woman I knew from our local community group. She had been struggling with constant urgency and frequent nighttime bathroom visits. She once confided in me that she felt like her body was working against her, like she had lost control over something so basic and essential. But once she committed to doing these pelvic floor exercises regularly, something incredible happened. Her confidence slowly started to return. After about 2 months, she shared that she was sleeping soundly through the night 4 or even 5 times a week. That isn't some magical overnight miracle. It's the power of muscle memory being rebuilt. It's the body healing itself from the inside out, one step at a time. And let's not overlook the emotional impact of all this. Waking up several times a night, rushing to the bathroom, constantly worrying about leaks. It's more than just tiring. It slowly eats away at your sense of security, your peace of mind, and your independence. But strengthening those small, often forgotten muscles can give you back something priceless, a feeling of control, of confidence, of comfort in your own body. You absolutely deserve that. You deserve to feel steady, secure, and at ease. You deserve to sleep without anxiety or disruption. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming your strength and restoring your well-being. Age doesn't determine your ability to improve, not even close. If you're still watching this video and finding these tips helpful, please comment the number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our videos. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. One surprising factor that hardly anyone talks about is the role of light in your body's daily timing. Yes, it may seem hard to believe, but the way your body processes fluids and manages sleep is deeply connected to your internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm. The habits you follow in the late afternoon and evening can either support that natural clock or completely throw it off balance. When your circadian rhythm is out of sync, your brain can send confusing signals to your bladder. That means, even if your kidneys aren't producing excess urine, your bladder may still wake you up unnecessarily during the night. Let's break this down. Your circadian rhythm controls hundreds of tiny but crucial processes throughout your body, including when your bladder relaxes and when it becomes more alert. In a healthy, well-aligned rhythm, Your bladder naturally calms down at night, allowing you to sleep longer and more peacefully without interruptions. However, when your circadian rhythm gets disrupted, often because of too much artificial light during the evening or irregular sleep habits, your brain stops producing melatonin properly. And melatonin isn't just the hormone that helps you fall asleep. It also plays a key role in telling your kidneys and bladder that it's time to slow down for the night. Think about it. If you're sitting in front of a bright television, scrolling through a tablet or phone, or keeping your home lights too bright after sunset, your body gets tricked into thinking it's still daytime. It holds back melatonin production, and as a result, your bladder stays more active than it needs to be. And what happens next? You find yourself waking up at 2 a.m. or 3:30 a.m., not because your bladder is truly full, but simply because your internal clock has fallen out of sync with the natural rhythm it once followed so effortlessly. But here's the good news. You can absolutely fix this. One of the easiest and most effective ways is by managing your evening light exposure more intentionally. Start by dimming the lights in your home after 7 p.m., especially overhead lights, which tend to be harsh. Try switching to softer, warmer lighting instead. If you need to use screens in the evening, use blue light filters or apps designed to reduce the impact of artificial light. Even better, avoid screens altogether for at least an hour before bed. These simple adjustments send a clear signal to your body that nighttime is approaching. They help your brain release melatonin naturally, guiding your body and your bladder back into a peaceful, restful rhythm. As your melatonin levels naturally begin to rise, your bladder starts to settle down, just as nature intended. I remember speaking with Richard, a 74-year-old man who struggled with waking up 3 times every single night. He had tried everything, cutting back on fluids, avoiding caffeine, even using medication, but nothing seemed to work in the long run. Then, he decided to try something different. He started dimming the lights around his home in the evening, turning off his phone at least an hour before bedtime, and committing to a consistent bedtime, even on nights when he didn't feel particularly sleepy. To his surprise, within just 2 weeks, everything began to change. He found himself sleeping through most nights again. The most interesting part? His bladder didn't change at all. Instead, his brain finally received the signal it had been missing. It was nighttime and time to rest. This isn't about tricking your body. It's about honoring the rhythm your body is naturally designed to follow. For most of human history, people lived by the sun's rise and fall, letting natural light guide their routines. But in modern life, we've drowned out those natural cues with bright lights, screens, and constant stimulation. As a result, our internal clocks get confused, and our bladders end up paying the price. Think of this as your invitation to reclaim your natural rhythm. The best part? It doesn't cost anything. You don't need a fancy gadget or a prescription. All it takes is a dimmer switch, some patience, and the commitment to create an environment where your body can truly rest. Don't underestimate the quiet but powerful influence of light. Don't overlook the steady impact of simple, consistent habits. Sometimes, the most meaningful changes are the ones you make slowly, night after night, in the peaceful comfort of your own home. Now, let's shift to something else that can have an equally powerful effect on your nights. It doesn't come in a bottle, doesn't require spending a dime, and yet it can be one of the strongest tools you have for reducing those frustrating nighttime bathroom trips, calming your nervous system before bed. Here's something many people don't realize. Your bladder doesn't just react to how much liquid you've had, it also responds to your emotional state. If you go to bed feeling anxious, restless, or mentally wired from the day, your bladder can misinterpret that emotional tension as a sense of urgency, even when it's holding only a small amount of urine. This phenomenon, often called bladder oversensitivity, tends to become even more common as we age. Why? Because as we grow older, the nerves that connect our brain and bladder can become more reactive and sensitive. As we age, the communication between the brain and bladder becomes more easily triggered. If you're carrying stress, tension, or even just a quiet undercurrent of worry into the night, those nerves stay active. They continue firing off signals, telling your brain, it's time to go, even when your bladder isn't truly full. That's exactly why so many seniors find themselves waking up in the middle of the night with the sudden urge to urinate, even if they've carefully limited their fluid intake throughout the evening. But here's the encouraging truth. Your bladder can be retrained. And one of the most effective ways to begin that process is by calming your nervous system before bed. Now, don't worry. This isn't about practicing complicated meditation techniques or doing anything that feels overwhelming or intimidating. What I'm talking about is something very simple, a calming bedtime ritual. Think about it. Children sleep better when they have a predictable nighttime routine, and adults, especially those over 60, aren't so different. This kind of ritual doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be something as easy as taking a warm shower, followed by just 5 minutes of slow, deep breathing in a quiet room. Or perhaps it's listening to soothing music or an audiobook while gently stretching in the living room. You don't need incense, chanting, or a spiritual guru. What you really need is a consistent way to tell your nervous system, it's safe now, it's time to rest, you can let go. In fact, research shows that your bladder's detrusor muscle, the muscle that controls urination, tends to become much more cooperative when your body enters a relaxed parasympathetic state. This is often called the rest and digest mode, the opposite of the fight or flight stress response. And here's the key. This relaxed state isn't something you can force by willpower alone. It's something you gently invite by slowing your breathing, releasing tension in your body, and creating a calm, comforting environment where your body doesn't feel it needs to stay on high alert. I once met a woman named Judy, who was 76 years old. She had been struggling with waking up multiple times a night. Judy, a 76-year-old woman, had been waking up 4 or 5 times a night for years. She had simply accepted it as an unavoidable part of getting older, even though she hated how exhausted she felt every morning. Her doctor had already ruled out infections and overactive bladder issues, yet the problem stubbornly remained. Then, one evening, her granddaughter, who happened to be studying psychology, suggested trying a simple relaxation routine before bed. Judy figured she had nothing to lose, so she gave it a shot. She started with just 10 minutes each night, dimming the lights, turning off the evening news, playing soft music, and practicing gentle breathing exercises while lying in bed. To her amazement, within just 2 weeks, her nightly bathroom trips dropped to just 1, or sometimes none at all. She even remarked, "I never thought it would be this easy." But the magic wasn't just in the relaxation itself, it was in the consistency. Once her body began to associate bedtime with peace, quiet, and calm, everything started to change. Her bladder stopped overreacting, her sleep became deeper and more refreshing, and most importantly, she began to trust her body again. So what's the real lesson here? Your bladder isn't the enemy. In fact, it's simply doing its best to protect you. But sometimes, the signals between your brain and bladder get mixed up. Stress tells your body to stay on high alert. Tension makes your muscles tighten, and your bladder, trying to be helpful, sends you racing to the bathroom just in case. But once your nervous system learns that it's safe to relax, and once you build that calm into your nightly routine, everything starts to shift in a positive direction. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment the number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support allows us to keep creating meaningful content designed to inform and inspire you. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on some final thoughts. If you've followed along this far, there's something very important I want you to truly take to heart, and I hope it sticks with you. Needing to wake up at night to urinate doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean your age has caught up with you in some irreversible way. It simply means your body is sending you signals, and sometimes, with all the noise, stress, and habits of modern life, we misinterpret those signals, or we never learned how to respond to them in a healthier way in the first place. But now you know better. And once you know better, everything can begin to change. Now that you've reached the end of this video, I encourage you to pause for a moment and think about your evening ahead. Ask yourself, what's one simple idea that truly spoke to you today? Just one. It doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. Maybe it's skipping that evening cup of black tea or coffee. Maybe it's committing to doing just 5 gentle pelvic floor exercises before brushing your teeth. Or perhaps it's as simple as turning off the evening news and playing a calming audiobook instead. That one small action could be the first step towards something much bigger. Sometimes it only takes one choice, one shift in habit, to start a ripple effect of change. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. There are thousands, even millions of people out there facing the same nightly frustration. Many have walked down that familiar dim hallway to the bathroom at 2 in the morning, steadying themselves along the walls, silently cursing their age, wondering, is this just how life is going to be from now on? But here's the truth. Many of them found relief. They tried something new, stuck with it, and slowly but surely, things began to change for the better. You can be one of those people too. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your voice matters, and we truly appreciate hearing your thoughts. Reading your comments not only encourages us, but also motivates us to continue creating helpful, inspiring content for you and others like you. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep bringing you practical, meaningful videos designed to inform, empower, and uplift. Thank you again for watching. Wishing you great health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more helpful tips.